Over the end of the week, mid-50s, not a bad day on Friday. Best day for the weekend, Saturday up to 58 degrees. Game day Sunday, could be a few showers. And we are in the upper 50s, maybe near 60 on Monday. Well,
New at 6 tonight, we're highlighting a program in Mecklenburg County that's focused on putting more money in local homeowners' pockets. The Mecklenburg County Homes program is focused on providing property tax relief after an increase in this year's reevaluations. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris has more on their efforts.
There's millions of dollars within the Queen City that can help homeowners pay their tax bill. In the Mecklenburg County Homes program, they are aiming to connect homeowners to that money in order to provide property tax relief. Over $10 million. That's the amount the county's Homes program is working to help homeowners use.
Miss Freeman, how are you? Okay.
We realize here in Mecklenburg County that the greatest asset that anyone can own is their home. So we want to do what we can to keep individuals in their home. So we're here providing this service to those that may qualify to help reduce the tax bill for the year. So
Denise Sills-Ballard is the Assistant Division Director with the Department of Community Resources. She said part of their mission includes making local residents aware of the money that's available. And the latest effort took place at Ella B. Scarborough Community Center, where homeowners could walk in and apply.
So we're wanting to get the word out to as many individuals here in Mecklenburg County that are interested in a program and that may qualify for it. So we're definitely wanting as many people to apply for the program and get that alleviation this year with their taxes and be able to use that money to help themselves in other ways. It's the holiday season.
There's a few things to keep in mind in order to qualify. The most you can save for city residents is $660 and $426 for county residents. Residents, they must make no more than 80% of the area's median income, which is nearly $80,000 for a family of four. Denise, she hopes that more residents can apply and benefit from the funds, a key piece why Katrina Williams decided to apply for the Mecklenburg County Homes program.
Any little bit most definitely help. It's a great thing for like the older people who are on a fixed income, who've been in their houses for, 20, 30 plus years. And there's been development around them.
The deadline to apply online is December 15th. I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. If you are in a relationship, folks, have your guard up today. That's because today, December 11th, is one of those popular days of the year for couples to call it quits.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, but for many couples, it might be a blue Christmas. Let's connect the dots. December 11th has unofficially been named International Breakup Day. Experts say this is one of the most popular dates couples call it quits. And there are a lot of things at play. Experts say many couples get anxious about meeting each other's families. Over half of people in relationships say they feel pressured to invite their significant other to family gatherings. They're also stressed out about buying a gift. And 40% of folks see ending the relationship as a way to get out of it. But it doesn't have to be another lonely Christmas. If you are serious about your relationship, experts recommend having a conversation about how the holidays may impact your relationship. And that is Connecting the Dots.
At WCNC Charlotte, we believe it is crucial to make a difference in our communities.
That's why we go beyond just reporting the news. We ask, where's the money to hold the powerful accountable and get money back into your pockets?
Our Verify team takes claims, finds sources, and gets you answers.
And we're keeping you weather aware, making you safer and smarter.
I'm Vanessa Rufus.
And I'm Colin Mayfield. Join us weeknights at 5, 6, and 11 and see the difference for yourself.
Only on WCNC Charlotte.
McAdenville, also known as Christmastown, USA, draws in hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. And one social media post is suggesting a technique that can help people see the lights better. The only issue, it may not be legal. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
This Facebook post, which is sparking a lot of debate, is asking drivers to cut off their headlights at night to better view the lights at McAdenville. But is that legal? Let's verify. Our sources are North Carolina criminal law attorney Ryan Ames and the official website for McAdenville. According to McAdenville's website, last year alone, the spectacular light display drew in more than 600,000 visitors, many of those driving through the neighborhood display. But before you turn off your headlights at night, criminal law attorney Ryan Ames says not so fast.
Generally wouldn't advise anyone to do it for a couple of reasons. The first is the safety reason, and the second is the fact you may get a ticket for it.
North Carolina law states all vehicles must have their headlights on from sunset to sunrise.
And so the whole purpose of having headlights and having a law that enforces it is the safety of everybody.
Along with vehicle traffic, McAdenville also brings a lot of foot traffic. So Ames says a car's headlights are not only for your safety, but the pedestrians as well.
Safety of everybody that's going to be both driving and walking when there's a lot of distractions with all these Christmas lights everywhere in particular. You could face serious felony charges if you seriously injured somebody.
So we can verify that no, it is not legal to cut off your headlights at night to better view the lights at McAdenville. With your Verified, I'm Megan Brown.
Well, in most places, homes have been sitting on the market for a long time. That's thanks to high interest rates. But there is one Charlotte neighborhood where that is not the case.
Yes, Sedgefield is a popular South End neighborhood that looks a lot different than it did 10, even 20 years ago. Tonight, Julia Kaufman dives into Sedgefield's hot market and rising home prices that have some asking, where's the money?
Sedgefield is home to houses big and small, old and new. Almost everywhere you turn, small cottages are being flipped into multi-level modern houses.
There's definitely a market for higher-end houses.
Sedgefield homeowner and realtor Michael Seaton says the market here has been hot for years, but more teardowns are happening than ever.
Prices are higher and they're still getting flipped and they're still getting torn down. And I don't see that stopping.
Several active construction projects and 9 active real estate listings. Seaton says in this neighborhood, listings go fast.
As long as they're priced correctly and they show well, they move fast.
Seaton bought his house in 1997 for less than $100,000. Now, properties nearby are going for more than $600,000 just for the land. According to MLS data, this single-story house sold in 2018 for $636,000. This year, it sold for $1.25 million.
The tax values, they have been escalating as the years have gone by.
Higher property values mean higher taxes. Homeowner Rick Langford says it's something almost every homeowner must face in the growing Queen City.
I've been able to manage. Some people have not been as fortunate.
Seaton says Sedgefield is booming mostly because of its location.
As you get closer to the city, the appreciation goes up.
Anyone struggling to pay their property taxes may be able to get help from the county's Homes program. The goal is to prevent people from being pushed out because they can no longer afford their homes. The deadline to apply this year is December 15th. Julia Kaufman, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, WCNC Charlotte is always asking where's the money in these type of cases because we want to put money back into your pocket. It's why we're here. Follow along by downloading the WCNC Charlotte mobile app for the most updated stories in this category.
WCNC Charlotte. Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community. See the difference. That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
5:39 now. We're asking where's the money on this Wednesday morning. Now we are once again testing your honesty here in WCNC Charlotte. This time we're talking about self-checkout. So let's get into this report from LendingTree. Now not many will admit to stealing while scanning their own items, but those who do not have plans to stop. So this report said 15% of self-checkout users confess to purposely stealing. And we're not talking about that item or two that you accidentally put in the bag. While 60% of those who have stolen say they felt some kind of remorse, well, 44% say they are likely to do it again. As far as money, we actually took a look at what salaries are doing the most snatching. With often fewer financial resources, younger generations are also more likely to use the machines to steal. That's 31% of Gen Zers, and then 21% of millennials have purposely taken an item without scanning. And then the self-reported value of the stolen goods itself is about $60. Of those who plan to steal in the future, 46% say they're going to keep targeting those more expensive items in their cart. And then about 37% will help themselves to essentials like food, water, or even healthcare goods. But here's arguably the most standout piece of this report. So by income group, the folks who are stealing the most are making the most. The survey cited 18% of six-figure earners saying they've stolen at self-checkout. Now, compare that to the 14% of folks stealing that are earning less than $35,000 or make somewhere between $50,000 and about $75,000. So we've got a question for you this morning. And remember, our responses are anonymous. Have you ever stolen an item? Bring us your best stories, and we promise we will not tell. 704-329-3600. Guys?
In this economy and a housing market with prices through the roof, buying a first home can be out of reach for some. A Charlotte organization is creating opportunities for people to bring that dream back within reach with the goal of keeping future generations out of poverty.
I knew that it was going to come. I just didn't know when it was going to come.
More than a year ago, Erica McNair put the vision of becoming a homeowner out into the universe. Fast forward to December 2023, she's still breathing in that new house smell.
On my vision board, I put home ownership and I put a picture of this house.
Her journey started by completing Enlivian's Destination Home Ownership program. She wanted to find her dream home, and she would not be deterred.
At that time, the market was hot, and people were literally going $20,000, $30,000, some even $40,000 over the asking price.
Homeownership is a way for individuals to build wealth.
Enlivian serves the residents and families of its properties to bring home ownership into view. Much of that is through support, programming, and hard work to attain the American dream.
When two generations live in poverty, that means that we have created a pattern of generational poverty, and it takes one choice, just one choice to make that change.
Enlivian partners with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and supportive lenders to work with Enlivian clients, especially those who have a housing choice voucher, creating affordable places to live.
The average income for individuals that live in the city of Charlotte is not enough to meet the requirements to be able to purchase a home.
It's a dream for many that Enlivian is bringing to fruition.
It's a different feeling when it's your own home. Like I'm ripping all of this out and doing all of this. I don't have to fix it back the way it was when I get ready to leave.
So McNair shared with me that a down payment should not intimidate anyone to not look for a first home. There are local agencies that provide down payment support, but it takes a little effort. WCNC has partnered with Pride Magazine to share stories just like this one every other month. If you'd like to read more about the program, though, head to pridemagazineonline.com.
Connect the dots and let us clear up the confusion. We're here to make sure the news makes sense. And with Connect the Dots, you'll understand how the headlines impact your family. See the difference on WCNC Charlotte. Time now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. Interest rates and high demand have caused unprecedented competition in the real estate market over the last few years. But if you are looking to buy, next year may finally be your year.
2024 may be the best time to buy a new home. Let's connect the dots. Real estate experts with Redfin are predicting some positive home trends for next year. They say by spring or summer, they expect home prices to fall 1%. That would be the first time prices have decreased since 2012. Experts also predict an influx of new listings. Redfin says this will create more supply than demand, which is good news for potential buyers. Also good news, experts say they expect mortgage rates to steadily drop. Redfin estimates the average 30-year mortgage rate will be at 7% to start the year, and they predict it will drop to 6.6% by the end of 2024. So, if you've been saving up, next year may finally be the right time to buy your dream home. And that is Connecting the Dots.
A local group in Waxhaw is working to add more of the holiday spirit to families that need it. F3 in Union County is collecting fixable bikes, repairing them, and then will donate them this holiday season.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris gives us a closer look at how this is spreading the holiday cheer.
Okay, come on, keep going.
There's always a need for bikes.
Whether it's gears needing shifted, tires needing more air, or handlebars being centered. The guys with F3 Waxhaw understand just how important the gift of giving can be, and they're working to fix and donate as many bikes as possible in hopes to brighten families' moods this Christmas.
We've probably repaired and given away about 30 bikes so far, but we probably have about 50 bikes that have just come in the last few weeks that we're working on.
Paul Worsland with F3 says they started collecting the bikes around the summer, and each bike collected will be fixed and donated to those in need. Members of the group, they started fixing the bikes, and over time, the community has caught wind and started to pitch in.
But once word has gotten out to neighborhood Facebook groups and next door, some of the donations from Millbridge, Walnut Creek, Lawson, Briarcrest have just been really kind of, it's an abundance of bikes that we've gotten.
With more and more of the community's involvement, Jeff Hamula is seeing the impact his group's making and the effects of people helping people.
To me, it shows how much charity people have for other people.
With more bikes being donated, Hamula is thankful to be a bridge for his community.
We are enabling them to give even though they may not feel comfortable giving because it's old or something's wrong with it and they don't want to give it away or they don't have a mechanism. So we're just enabling that to happen. And
it's not just a Christmas thing, but it's an ongoing, we know what to do with the bikes, and now we got to figure out, where the needs are to move them.
Here we go! The group will donate several of the bikes next Saturday in East Charlotte during a private giveaway. However, families can collect the donated bikes on Thursdays and Saturdays at Christ's Closet. The details are being listed on our website at WCNC.com. In Waxhaw, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, if you can't make it to the mountains, we're going to help you by taking you there.
Take a look at that. That looks festive.
That is up there, Hawksnest. Probably one of the best tubing sites on the eastern seaboard.
That's right.
It's a great spot to be in. Kind of quiet up there right now. All man-made snow. They were making snow all night, but temperatures up there cold enough it's going to stay in place. So a great view with the sunshine and the blue skies up there in the high country at Hawks Nest. Let's talk about temperatures right now across the area. In the mountains at Boone and Jefferson, both in the low 40s. It's 40 at Hickory over at Gastonia, 43 there, matching a temperature in the Queen City. 44 at Monroe, and Shaw, South Carolina checks in at 43 degrees. Going to be a chilly day today. We are looking at sunny skies out there. By 2 o'clock, we're close to 50. I'll say low 50s for high temperatures today. We head to the 6 p.m. hour on the way home. Temperatures under fair skies right around 44 degrees at that time. Lows this morning across the region. It dropped to 18 degrees at Boone. It was 23 at Salisbury, 25 at Shelby, 27 at Lancaster, and Cheraw was over in Wadesboro, 24 there in Hanson County. And the low this morning was 28 degrees right here in the Queen City. Overnight tonight, look for lows. For the most part, I think upper 20s and low 30s under clear skies across the region. There you go. Our low this morning, 28 degrees. Lowest temperatures this year, you go back to January 15th, it was 24 degrees. So we're pretty close to that, just a few degrees away from it. And tomorrow morning, not quite as cold. Right now, once again, we're 43 degrees, winds right around 6 miles per hour. So that's not a factor as we take you through the afternoon. 1 p.m., 49 degrees, low 50s around 4 o'clock. If we get to early tomorrow morning, about 2 a.m., temperature at that time right around 32 degrees, indicating, upper 20s and low 30s. Over the next several days, temperatures all over the place as far as 50s. Then we got Thursday, barely making it to 49 degrees, our average high 56 this time of the year. By next Monday, we actually could get close to 60 degrees, but all in all, temperatures right around average, a little bit below. Nothing on the radar at all, but as we get towards this coming weekend, I think really late Saturday, early Sunday, developing storm system along the coastal sections could bring some moisture in, enough we could see some showers on Sunday. Nothing heavy, not expecting any storms. The heavy rain, flooding rains and storms will be along the Carolina coastlines. That area of low pressure rides up the east coast all the way into the early part of next week. Now, this is early, but rainfall totals not that much, maybe 0.2 of an inch here. The heaviest rain is really going to be east of here. You can see over towards Fayetteville about 1.25 inches quarter, and then beyond that, those coastal areas where you see the areas of red, we're talking about anywhere from maybe 5 to 7 inches of rainfall in those coastal communities. High temperatures today, once again, for the most part, into the low 50s under sunny skies out there. And then overnight tonight, around 31 at Hickory, 30 at Rock Hill. We'll say upper 20s and low 30s across the region. Check that Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Right around 53 degrees today. A little bit milder tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-50s Thursday. There you go, upper 40s. Over the end of the week, mid-50s. Not a bad day on Friday. Best day for the weekend, Saturday, up to 58 degrees. Game day Sunday. Could be a few showers. And we are in the upper 50s, maybe near 60 on Monday. Well,
Americans on average save about $121 a month on their power bill when they switch to solar panels. But could those savings put you at risk if there's a fire in your house? Here's Megan Bragg with this morning's Verify.
More homes in the U.S. have solar panels on their roofs now. In fact, data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration shows residential power installation rose by 34% in 2020. So one WCNC viewer wanted to know if a resident had a fire emergency at home, would solar panels keep the fire department from gaining access to the fire? Let's verify.
Our sources are the NC Department of Insurance, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and the Huntersville Fire Department. To bring a house fire under control, firefighters will often poke holes in the roof to vent the smoke. This improves visibility inside the home and improves the odds of survival for anyone trapped inside. The North Carolina Department of Insurance says firefighters do face additional hazards from solar panels on roofs. Some of these hazards include the potential of electrical shock from the solar panel system, a greater risk of the roof collapsing during the fire conditions because of the added weight, fire risk from battery storage systems, and the potential for slips and falls while working on a roof with solar panels. Because of this, a fire scene incident commander has to be cautious about letting firefighters on the roof to fight the house fire with solar panels. When responding to a fire, firefighters are trained to disconnect the power from the home. The Huntersville Fire Department says they take into account all of these variables when fighting a fire. And while solar panels can present a challenge and some additional difficulty, they say it's not something they can't navigate. The Department of Energy says you should let your local firefighters know that your home has solar panels installed so they are aware in case there's an emergency. So we can verify that no, if your home has solar panels, it would not keep the fire department from gaining access to the fire, but it could make fighting a fire a little more difficult. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
If you have something you would like verified, email us at verify@wcnc.com.
Brad, thank you. Now to that chaos we were speaking of at Charlotte City Council, the meeting tonight with tensions already high as the war between Israel and Hamas goes on. Palestine supporters here in Charlotte expressing their concerns to city leaders.
And those concerns riling up the chamber, forcing Charlotte City Council to pause the meeting twice. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard shows us what transpired.
Meeting right now. You won't even give us your attention. You won't even give us your reason.
This was the first time Mayor Lyles called for a short recess after chaos erupted during the public hearing.
Shame! 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 Shame!
If we treat each other with respect and dignity, I would not want someone to treat me in a way that makes me feel less than. And that's what's going on when we speak over people.
The disorder started shortly after those in support of Palestine shared their stories, encouraging city leaders to feel the pain caused by the escalated violence.
These moments are now gone because every single person I mentioned to you has not made it out of this war. America continues to be the only state to veto a ceasefire. Every day I'm reminded that I do not matter.
As other speakers spoke out, comments scattered across the room.
Multiple speakers spoke in angry and hostile tones regarding the events transpiring between Israel and Hamas.
Genocide!
Mayor Lyles eventually asking two people to leave the chamber.
I need to ask you to leave the chamber. Now. Now. I beg your pardon?
She's not going anywhere.
After they refused to be escorted out, she proceeded to end the meeting for the second time.
So with that, this meeting is recessed. We will empty the chamber.
Some within the Jewish community were also escorted out, but from a different entrance due to safety concerns. Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Now, Charlotte city leaders also got a first look at CMPD body camera footage from a controversial arrest. You'll remember viral video of this incident shows a woman taking blows from a CMPD officer as other officers stand close by. Last week, a judge agreed to let the public see that body camera video. Joanna Brown represents the district where the incident happened.
I didn't like the video at all. I shared my concerns in there with Chief Jennings, but I do have a great relationship with Jennings, and I trust that he will make the right decision after looking at all the investigations. In all fairness, for everybody to look at the video and see exactly what comes out of it, but for me, it was hard for me to watch.
Now, once the footage is released, our WCNC Charlotte team will do a thorough review and we'll report back to you.
Time now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. 2023 was a rough year for air travel, and now experts say the ride isn't going to get any smoother in the new year.
Get ready for another turbulent and expensive year of air travel.
Unless we walk away. The American people can be and should be incredibly proud of the part they played in supporting Ukraine's success. We'll continue to supply Ukraine with critical weapons and equipment as long as we can, including $200 million I just approved today in critical needed equipment, additional air defense interceptors, artillery, and ammunition. But without supplemental funding, we're rapidly coming to an end of our ability to help Ukraine respond to the urgent operational demands that it has. Putin is banking on the United States failing to deliver for Ukraine. We must prove him wrong. The United States and Congress must, as I asked last week, it's stunning that we've gotten to this point. You know, we need to fully appreciate how it's wrong, how this is being viewed around the world and being used by Russia. Russian loyalists in Moscow celebrated when Republicans voted to block Ukraine aid last week. The host of a Kremlin-run show literally said, and I quote, "Well done, Republicans. That's good for us," end of quote. Let me say that again. This host of a Kremlin-run show said, "Well done, Republicans. That's good for us." That's a Russian speaking. If you're being celebrated by Russian propagandists, it might be time to rethink what you're doing. History will judge harshly those who turn their back on freedom's cause. Today, Ukraine's freedom is on the line, but if we don't stop Putin, it will endanger the freedom of everyone, almost everywhere. Putin will keep going, and would-be aggressors everywhere will be emboldened to try to take what they can by force. Mr. President, I'll not walk away from Ukraine, and neither will the American people. A clear bipartisan majority of people across the United States and in Congress support your country. They understand, as I do, that Ukraine's success and its ability to deter aggression in the future are vital to security for the world at large. And I have repeatedly made clear from our first day in office, we also need Ukraine to make changes to fix the broken immigration system here. We also need Congress to make the changes to fix the broken immigration system here at home. My team is working with Senate Democrats and Republicans to try to find a bipartisan compromise, both in terms of changes in policy and provide the resources we need to secure the border. Compromise is how democracy works, and I'm ready and offered compromise already. Holding Ukraine funding hostage in the attempt to force through an extreme Republican partisan agenda on the border is not how it works. We need real solutions. I also asked Congress for funding for Israel to take on Hamas and confront multiple other threats backed by Iran in the wake of the October 7th assault. National Security Advisor Sullivan will travel to the region this week and meet with the Israeli War Cabinet, as I have met with, to emphasize our commitment to Israel, as well as the need to protect civilian life and ensure more humanitarian assistance flows and reaches into Gaza for Palestinian civilians. Secretary Austin will also travel to the region this week to step up the international efforts to protect the free flow of commerce through the Red Sea. The entire world is watching what we do, so let's show them who we are. America stands for freedom today, tomorrow, and always. America stands against tyranny and against oppression. And America stands with the people of Ukraine. Thank you again for being here today, Mr. President, and thank you for everything Ukraine is doing to hold the line for liberty in the world. The floor is yours, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. President, dear journalists. I'm glad to be here and personally thank you and tell you how Ukraine values what we've achieved together, defending life and freedom. In Ukraine, we are fighting for our country and freedom, and also in Europe, we say for our freedom and yours. And this motto resonates not only in our country, not only in our hearts, not only in Ukraine, but also in Poland and Baltic states, Moldova and others. When freedom is strong in one country, it is strong everywhere. When it burns in one soul, it presents its merits to others. Ukrainians have twice led revolutions this century, defending freedom. For nearly 2 years, we have been in a full-scale war, the biggest since World War II, fighting for freedom. We stand firm, no matter what Putin tries. He hasn't won any victories. Thanks to Ukraine's success in defense, other European nations are safe from the Russian aggression, unlike in the past. Ukraine can now tackle the Russian dictatorship, so our children and other nations won't have to shed their blood and sacrifice lives defending against Russian aggression. We've already made significant progress. We've shown that our courage and partnership are stronger than any Russian hostility. And we have freed 50% of the territories Russia occupied after February 24th. And we won the Black Sea and are reviving our economy. Thanks to maritime experts, Ukraine's 5% economic growth this year proves our effective partnership. And we've shown no Russian missiles can overthrow the powerful American Patriot systems. Thank you very much. And even during war, we are reforming our country and strengthening our institutions. Today, President Biden and I discussed how to increase our strength for next year. First, air defense and destroying Russian logistics on Ukraine's land. Mr. President, thank you very much for your supporting us. And in these areas, like our victory in the Black Sea, we aim to win the air battle, crushing Russian air dominance. This will intensify our ground advantages in 2024 with our control of the skies. Who controls the skies controls the war's duration. And today I would like to thank, of course, for yet another significant defense package with our defenders value very much. Second, yesterday I met with American defense company leaders. They advised us on how to make our defense industries work faster and more effectively. Thank you, President Biden, for this important initiative. We started with you. Together, Ukraine and America can strengthen democracy's arsenal. And this is vital for other free nations and the U.S. as it involves your companies, technologies, and technology advancement and job creation. And it is important to know that 2/3 of American support for Ukraine remains and works in the United States. Third, I informed Mr. President that Ukraine has fulfilled all the recommendations of the European Commission regarding the preparation for a decision to start negotiations on Ukraine's accession to the EU. And we constantly communicate with European leaders about our joint steps, sanctions, and political efforts to pressure Russia. American leadership is crucial, is keeping this unity together, a unity that serves the entire free world. And I thank America for new sanctions. And today we discussed Putin's further isolation and making him pay for his aggression. It's very important that by the end of this year we can send a very strong signal of our unity to the aggressor and the unity of Ukraine, America, Europe, the entire free world. Everything we talked about today will help us in the year 2024. Today's discussions in the White House and in Congress across both parties and both chambers with a speaker were very productive, and I thank you for the bipartisan support. As we approach Christmas, on behalf of all our Ukrainian families separated by war and all sons and daughters on the front, Ukraine's greatest wish is to near this war's victorious end. No one but Putin wants a prolonged war. We dream of a Christmas in a peacetime, of course, and we are working to turn our battlefield success into peace. And we are heading there together with you, and thanks, of course, to your support. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, America. Slava Ukraine.
Thank you. Look, we're going to alternate asking questions. We're going to ask a total of, each ask 2 questions. And I will ask the first question. I will recognize the first question asker. I'll ask a question, Joel, too. But Danny Kemp.
Thank you, Mr. President. For President Biden, Ukraine's counteroffensive has stalled in recent months. Congress is blocking aid, and Vladimir Putin appears ready to just wait things out. So what is the strategy for the US and Ukraine next year to try and turn this around? And if that fails, at what point do you say to Ukraine, as a friend, that it is perhaps time to start looking at peace talks? And for President Zelenskyy, welcome back to Washington. Can I ask you, did you hear what you wanted to hear from Congress and from President Biden? Or are you indeed more worried than when you got here? Thank you very much.
Well, let me answer the question first. Let's put this in perspective. Remember how far Ukraine has come. Russia's failed thus far in trying to erase Ukraine from the map and subsume it into Russia. Ukraine has taken back more than 50% of its territory seized since February of 22. And it's pushed back the Russian Navy so Ukraine can export grain and steel to the world through the Black Sea. And thanks to the incredible courage of the Ukrainian people and the bipartisan support from our Congress, but it's not just American support. There are more than 50 countries in Ukraine with military, economic, and humanitarian assistance. 50. The burden sharing, the U.S. has put up $75 billion, and our allies and partners have put up $100 billion. And more than 90% of our security assistance to Ukraine is being spent in the United States to provide weapons for Ukraine and replenish our stockpiles and build our industrial base. We need to ensure Putin continues to fail in Ukraine and Ukraine to succeed. And the best way for that to do that is to pass the supplement.
Yeah, can I answer in Ukrainian, please?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to add to the words of Mr. President Biden. About successes, I think that these were not easy successes. Nonetheless, they were quite serious. They were serious steps forward. Indeed, we gained victory on the sea. We destroyed ships of the Russian Federation. We threw the remnants of their fleet to Russian territorial waters. Yeah, they have something in the Black Sea, in the vicinity of our temporarily occupied Crimea, but we are going to proceed this activity. Our guys destroyed 20,000 of Wagner mercenaries. These are serious terrorists who were massing everywhere on African continent, in Syria, in Ukraine. There were a lot of mass. And nucleus of this terroristic organization is not existing anymore. Yes, we had a lot of problems, but nonetheless we were able to do this. Moreover, Russia were not able to seize any part of our territory, any village, any town. I'm not talking about large cities, and we are going to proceed with this. It is good without saying that we have objective, we have a clear plan, but if you allow me, I am not able to tell you in public on the details of 2024 operations. If I heard what I want, I've heard a lot. Surely I told what I wanted to. I feel and experience the support from President Biden administration, from senators, and we will be talking with the speaker. I got this signal. They were more than positive, but we know that we have to separate words and particular result. Therefore, we will count on particular result. Thank you.
Your turn to ask a question.
Yeah, sorry. Телеканал Інтер, будь ласка.
Inter, please.
Thank you for taking my question. Dmitry Anopchenko, Ukrainian television U.S. correspondent. Many Republican voices doubt the ability of Ukraine to win the war. Senator once recently even told that Ukraine need to cede some territories to stop fighting. Pan Volodymyr, to be very honest, have you even considered such a step to cede the territories to stop fighting? And Mr. Biden, could you please clarify the policy of your administration, the strategy of your administration on Ukraine? Is it about helping the country to defend itself or to win the war? Because it's obviously such a difference.
Ваше запитання до мене, чи готові ми віддати території, я так розумію?
Your question is, if we are ready to give up our territories?
Слухайте, питання не тільки в наших словах чи в думках. Питання в тому, на що ми готові, на що ні. Як може Україна просто віддати свої території? Тобто це абсолютно божевілля. Якщо чесно, дуже часто згадуємо Бога, це точно не по-християнськи. Там живуть наші люди, там живуть сім'ї, там діти. І все це частина суспільства українського. Але ми говоримо про живих людей. Їх над ними знущаються, їх гвалтують, їх вбивали. Ми це прекрасно знаємо. Ті голосам, які пропонують віддати наші території, як віддати своїх людей. Питання ж не тільки в землі, питання в живих людях, в їх судьбах, в історіях їх. Питання в цих сім'ях і в дітях. Віддати територію, віддати дітей. Ну, нехай ті голоси. Я не знаю, хто про це говорить. У мене до них одне питання. Чи готові вони віддати своїх дітей в руки терористам? Думаю, що ні.
We want to see Ukraine win the war. And as I've said before, winning means Ukraine is a sovereign, independent nation and that can afford to defend itself today and deter further aggression. That's our objective. Trevor, Reuters.
Thank you, sir. First, a question for both of you. Given the Republican skepticism of the Ukraine effort, do you worry that a second term for President Trump would be the end of an independent Ukraine? That's for both of you. And then for you, President Biden, Just an update, if you could, on the situation in Gaza, on the reports that Israel has begun flooding Hamas tunnels, and just the offensive in southern Gaza generally. How long do you think that operation should last? Thank you.
First of all, with regard to political support for Ukraine, there is a strong bipartisan political support for Ukraine. Small number of Republicans who don't want to support Ukraine, but they don't speak for the majority of even the Republicans, in my view. We're in negotiations to get funding we need, not to promise, not making promises, but hopeful we can get there. I think we can. And you're right, the world's watching what we do. Would you send a horrible message to an aggressor and allies if we walked away at this time? And it would hurt our national security. Do you want me to answer the other question as well? With regard to, say it again?
Sorry, so the question was just if you could talk a little bit about the Gaza operation, Israel flooding Hamas tunnels, and if you've had conversations with Bibi Netanyahu about how long that operation should last.
Well, I have had conversations with Bibi Netanyahu, and I want to make sure that we don't forget what we're doing here. We have to support Israel because they're an independent nation that's being, I mean, the brutality, the inhumanity, the way in which Hamas treated the Israelis, and I mean, raping and burning and beheading. I mean, it's just beyond comparison, beyond comparison. And to anything else that I've seen since I've been here, and I've been around for a long time. But I think that we have made it clear to the Israelis, and they're aware, that the safety of innocent Palestinians is still of great concern. And so the actions they're taking must be consistent with attempting to do everything possible to prevent innocent Palestinian civilians from being hurt, murdered, killed, lost, etc. And look, it doesn't lessen the responsibility going after Hamas to innocent Palestinians and Hamas. Look, we have a responsibility to protect citizens and ensure they have access to humanitarian assistance. That's why I've worked so hard with our Arab friends as well as the Israelis to get humanitarian assistance into Israel, literally getting up to 140 trucks loaded with gear, loaded with food, loaded with everything that is needed by the Palestinians, including fuel. So, you know, Israel has stated its intent to fulfill these responsibilities. It's very difficult. With regard to the flooding of the tunnels, there is assertions being made that there's quite sure there are no hostages in any of these tunnels, but I don't know that for a fact. I do know that, though, every civilian death is an absolute tragedy, and Israel stated its intent, as I said, to match its words with its intent with actions. That's why I was talking about today. Question 3. I guess I asked that. No, I just asked that. It's your turn. Your turn.
So, addressing your question very quickly, I've been talking a lot with representatives of both parties. Both Democrats and Republicans proved full-fledged support, and we will see, but before this, we've always been trusting in support of our strategic partner, the United States, and we will consider that it will continue in this way, and Ukraine will not remain alone against such a critical terrorist as the Russian Federation.
Thank you so much. My name is Yaroslav Dovopol, Ukrinform News Agency, Ukraine. Next summer, the United States will host an anniversary NATO summit in Washington, D.C., which raises a lot of hope, especially for Ukraine. President Zelenskyy What does the Ukrainian side expect from this summit? And do you hope to hear direct invitation for Ukraine to join the alliance? And President Biden, under what conditions is the United States ready to support the initiative of inviting Ukraine to be member of NATO? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I will answer very quickly on this very complicated question. We are not allies till now. We are allies, but we are not members of NATO. So that's why I think I will pass this question to our big friend, President Biden.
Well, look, I'm very proud that how strong and unified NATO has become. And now it's even larger. Putin wanted the federalization of NATO when I met with him in Geneva right after I was elected. And he's gotten the NATOization of Finland instead. And NATO will be in Ukraine's future, no question about that. But as we said in Vilnius, Ukraine will become a member of NATO when all allies agree and conditions are met. Right now, we have to make sure they win the war. And, we launched a joint declaration of support alongside President Zelenskyy and the G7 leaders in Vilnius, outlining a long-term commitment to supporting Ukraine's defense needs. We also hosted a defense industry conference last week here in D.C. to get that critical work done. So it's a step at a time. Thank you all very, very much.
This concludes thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. This concludes the press conference. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Distinguished guests, please remain in your seats while the principals depart.
It's 6:38 this morning, and we're asking where's the money this holiday season? Now, this one is about our teachers. Some school-age parents out there may be looking to get their kids' teachers a small gift for the holidays. If that's you, we've got some tips, and here are our top 3. So first is cost. Most states are only going to allow teachers to accept gifts that are less than $50. So make sure you're keeping this in mind as you shop. Now, moving on to 2. If you're struggling to find a gift, include your kids in the search. You might be able to get a little more personal and creative with your gift giving. And then last but certainly not least, if your kids' teachers don't celebrate Christmas, well, consider getting brushed up on the other holidays. There are 14 religious holidays that believers celebrate just in the month of December. So there are plenty of other traditions to learn about. Of course, you can always go with a gift to ring in the new year as well.
Rock Hill's development is on the upward swing, and with that, a new plan to build retail and more than 200 townhomes in the city.
And that proposal got the green light actually from planning leaders, but it also has been getting lots of pushback from folks that are living nearby this. Those neighbors speaking up tonight. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard share their concerns and the next steps that are going forward.
How many are against this zoning? We just want our homes to remain as they are, as a quiet area.
It was a heated discussion for dozens of homeowners living in Rock Hill.
This is all of them.
You're out of order.
When was the second study done? Was it during COVID when nobody was driving?
We'll address.
You take a little trip about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Just drive up and down the highway and see what it's like for neighbors to try to get in and out of this area.
The debate comes after a proposal for retail, commercial, and more than 200 townhomes right across from Northwestern High School. After nearly 2 hours of debating, city planning commissioners finally voting yes.
Have to work with a developer or accept something that is probably going to be worse probably down in the future. Aye. All opposed say no.
No. No.
Motion carries.
Before, this empty plot of land had plans for a Walmart neighborhood store, but that never happened. After years of sitting vacant, officials are now moving forward with new plans.
This has been a drawback in terms of the density we thought we needed in order to try to make a profit.
Concerns for things like safety, noise, and traffic continue to linger.
We feel that the good old boys need to go do their damage elsewhere.
It's now up to City Council to give the official yay or nay next month. Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
With your help, WCNC Charlotte is making a difference in our community.
Beautiful day, so many people helping. This is incredible.
Let's spread that love tonight.
Here is a $5,000 check that you guys can use to further the mission.
There is nothing on earth like the feeling of giving back with your hands.
$5,000 to you and Block Love Charlotte for what you guys do.
If you'd like to make a difference, go to WCNC.com/make-a-difference now.
Well, this is beautiful too, for a different reason. Tonight, a Tuskegee Airman from Charlotte, missing for nearly 80 years, is finally laid to rest.
Yeah, burial was held for Second Lieutenant Fred Brewer Jr. today at the Salisbury National Cemetery. During World War II, he was one of dozens of pilots who escorted bombers to targets in Germany. During the operation, it was reported he had to make a maneuver which forced his plane to stall, and he never ejected. His remains weren't recovered until last year when DNA tests confirmed his identity.
Now today, the president of the Tuskegee Airmen spoke about Brewer, saying decades later, the nation remains grateful for his service.
The mission that Lieutenant Brewer was on was one of those bomber escort missions that nobody believed Tuskegee Airmen could accomplish. Unfortunately, the weather that day was one of those factors that changed the course of Lieutenant Brewer's life. Our nation and organization are better because of his service and ultimate sacrifice. Dr. Brewer is inspirational to all who have and will learn of his story.
Brewer was also honored on Capitol Hill this morning when Representative Alma Adams recognized him on the House floor. Here's video of that.
Yeah, and we invite you to tune in tonight on WCNC Plus. We have a special highlighting the brave men and women in our nation's military.
It follows the honor flight of several veterans, though, who visit Washington, D.C. every year to visit their respective memorials. And then every year, it's always a moving experience to get to watch. That special is airing tonight at 10 on WCNC Plus. You can download that app for your Fire TV or Roku device.
Those honor flights are always so special.
Got a chance when I was early on, and I think every reporter should get a chance to do
Yeah.
that because it gives you such a respect for those that came before us and served.
Yeah. And I know they find it to be, you know, in some cases, just a really eye-opening experience.
It's inspirational because a lot of those guys and gals wouldn't be able to get there if it wasn't for that trip. So thank you.
The Black-owned business sector is growing right here in Charlotte. And the fast-paced expansion has the Queen City topping yet another ranked list. It's why this morning we're telling the stats through two women's story.
Like we see the Issa Raes, the Shonda Rhimes, like we see all those people and they seem so far ahead of us.
But even the greats started where Demetria Hockaday and Jessica Davis are right now. The two women own and operate Pop Media, a marketing and filmmaking LLC creating content. They're storytellers.
Whether it's a huge corporation or a small mom and pop, there's a story that lies beneath that.
While Davis and Hockaday are used to telling other businesses' stories, well, today we're telling theirs. Right now, the two are taking on their latest project, Art Bridges. It's documenting the use of federal pandemic money in Forsyth County. That work takes place right here in Charlotte's Camp North End, where Pop Media, like many other small businesses, set up shop. But what Hockaday and Davis didn't know was their contribution to this stat. So finance and tech writers say of all the businesses across the country, only about 3% of them are Black owned. But researchers are finding that there's a handful of cities across the country that actually outpace that percentage. And Charlotte is just one of 6 metros where the proportion of Black owned business actually doubles the national average.
Once somebody hears your name, somebody else hears your name. And I think that's what makes community in Charlotte, which is why we have so many Black and brown businesses, is because the word of mouth.
And Davis hopes that growth continues, while Hockaday notes the continued need for visibility.
Usually you would not see people like us getting opportunities to work with a city where we did go to school. We are like one of the HBCUs that is in that city.
And she's got some advice too. That's for anyone looking to start the journey of entrepreneurship just like they did years ago.
3, 2, 1.
You get somewhere where you are not only the teacher, but you can also have a place of being a student.
What a great story, Kia.
Meeting these 2 women, I mean, was phenomenal, especially when Demetria was talking about the importance of visibility. And it's a benefit that a lot of folks here in Charlotte have because it's one of only 6 metros that are outpacing that national average. I mean, if you think about all the businesses across the country and less than 3% of them are run by people that look like me, I mean, that's an amazing and staggering stat, and frankly not in a good way.
Well, we talk about all the time about how the city is thriving, and it's good to see that it's thriving for everyone.
Yes.
Not just a few select people, which is great.
I love that you told their story. Thank you.
Verify, WCNC Charlotte.
Verify is all about trying to make a difference in the community by making sure that the community has the correct information. This is what we know. And hey, this is what we don't know. Sometimes you're actually surprised by the answer.
Verify the difference.
Verify is a great way to combat that misinformation, making sure that people know the process of the reporting.
A new report by UNC Charlotte's Urban Institute is digging into housing instability and homelessness in Mecklenburg County. It shows eviction filings are dramatically up this year. This as we're seeing rent prices across the region skyrocket, leaving people asking, where's the money? WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker joins us live from South End. And Austin, what does the data mean?
Yeah, so this just means that it's getting harder to rent inside the metro. I think, Nick, raise your hand. We've all been in this situation. You move somewhere, but then within the year, it just gets more expensive. So you're forced to move to a cheaper place, but then that also gets more expensive. People wondering, is it even doable? New apartments continuing to pop up, built from the ground sky high.
And a 2-year re-sign for $1,000 more.
Some drawing similarities between the height of the apartment and what they are paying.
It was $1,890, I think, and then it went up when we were going to re-sign, so we just quit the lease.
In some cases, it's causing people to move, like Jonathan Arnold from Uptown to Noda.
The cost was good.
But he realizes some might not be as able.
It's probably hard for a lot of people to decide.
A new report on Charlotte-Mecklenburg's state of housing instability and homelessness shows eviction filings are up 40% this year compared to last, impacting around 7,000 people.
What we've been seeing over the last 3 years is a corporate takeover of housing.
Jessica Moreno with Action NC says while Charlotte rent prices are increasing year over year, affordable housing isn't catching up, highlighting solutions the metro needs.
We need right to counsel. We need tenants to be able to that go through evictions or disputes with landlords and their safety is on the line for them to have attorneys beyond what is already given by some nonprofits.
The report also detailing the fair market rate for a 1-bedroom apartment in Mecklenburg County is just shy of $1,200. The report shows a single person working a minimum wage job would need to work 125 hours per week to afford that. Because of this, Moreno asking for commodified housing.
Is housing that's not going to go up and down in value.
So more people.
I was here in South End and then that went up like $600, so I moved to Huntersville.
Can stay put. Yeah, so there's no doubt right there. Rent is rising, but there is a silver lining for those looking to buy and sell a home. We'll have that coming up tonight on WCNC Charlotte News at 5:30. For now, live in South End, Austin Walker, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, thanks, Austin.
Own a car in North Carolina, then you know you have to get your car inspected every year, and that inspection may include an emissions test. But could this soon change? Here's Megan Bragg with this morning's Verify Fact Check.
We got a text message sent to us from someone who heard the emissions test for vehicles is being eliminated in North Carolina counties. But what does this really mean for drivers? Let's get the facts.
Our sources are the EPA and the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. The EPA says the yearly emissions test program helps maintain federal air quality standards in the state. However, the 2023 state budget bill that passed back in October could eliminate emissions testing in 18 of the 19 North Carolina counties that currently require them. The only county that would continue to require emissions tests would be Mecklenburg County. Despite the fact that the bill passed, the emissions provision is still not in effect. The Department of Environmental Quality must first submit its 2023 state implementation plan amendment to the EPA. The EPA would then have to approve the amendment before it could take effect. So we're talking a few years from now. And plenty of vehicles in North Carolina are already exempt from emissions testing. It's only required, as we said, in 19 out of the 100 counties in the state. And even in those counties, there are vehicles that don't have to pass emissions tests. Any vehicle that is 20 years or older, exempt. Diesel operated or registered as a farm vehicle, also exempt. If you want to know if your car must pass an emissions test in order to pass inspection, reach out to the NCDMV. With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
If you have something you would like verified, just email us at verify@wcnc.com.
Thank you. Well, if you can't make it to the mountains, we're going to help you by taking you there.
Take a look at that. That looks festive.
That is up there, Hawks Nest, probably one of the best tubing sites on the eastern seaboard.
That's right.
It's a great spot to be in. Kind of quiet up there right now. All man-made snow. They were making snow all night, but temperatures up there cold enough it's going to stay in place. A great view with the sunshine and the blue skies up there in the high country at Hawks Nest. Let's talk about temperatures right now across the area. In the mountains at Boone and Jefferson, both in the low 40s. It's 40 at Hickory, over at Gastonia, 43 there, matching a temperature in the Queen City. 44 at Monroe, and Shaw, South Carolina checks in at 43 degrees. Going to be a chilly day today. We are looking at sunny skies out there. By 2 o'clock, we're close to 50. I'll say low 50s for high temperatures today. We head to the 6 p.m. hour on the way home. Temperatures under fair skies right around 44 degrees at that time. Lows this morning across the region, it dropped to 18 degrees at Boone. It was 23 at Salisbury, 25 at Shelby, 27 at Lancaster, and Cheraw was over in Wadesboro, 24 there in Hanson County. And the low this morning was 28 degrees right here in the Queen City. Overnight tonight, look for lows. For the most part, I think upper 20s and low 30s under clear skies across the region. There you go. Our low this morning, 28 degrees. Lowest temperatures this year, you go back to January 15th, it was 24 degrees. So we're pretty close to that, just a few degrees away from it. And tomorrow morning, not quite as cold. Right now, once again, we're 43 degrees, winds right around 6 miles per hour. So that's not a factor as we take you through the afternoon. 1 p.m., 49 degrees, low 50s around 4 o'clock. If we get to early tomorrow morning, about 2 a.m., temperature at that time right around 32 degrees, indicating, yep, upper 20s and low 30s. Over the next several days, temperatures all over the place as far as 50s. Then we got Thursday, barely making it to 49 degrees, our average high 56 this time of the year. By next Monday, we actually could get close to 60 degrees, but all in all, temperatures right around average, a little bit below. Nothing on the radar at all, but as we get towards this coming weekend, I think really late Saturday, early Sunday, developing storm system along the coastal sections could bring some moisture in, enough we could see some showers on Sunday. Nothing heavy, not expecting any storms. The heavy rain, flooding rains and storms will be along the Carolina coastlines. That area of low pressure rides up the east coast all the way into the early part of next week. Now, this is early, but rainfall totals not that much, maybe 0.2 of an inch here. The heaviest rain is really going to be east of here. You can see over towards Fayetteville about 1.25 inches, and then beyond that, those coastal areas where you see the areas of red, we're talking about anywhere from maybe 5 to 7 inches of rainfall in those coastal communities. High temperatures today, once again, for the most part, into the low 50s under sunny skies out there. And then overnight tonight, around 31 at Hickory, 30 at Rock Hill. We'll say upper 20s and low 30s across the region. Check that Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Right around 53 degrees today. A little bit milder tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-50s Thursday. There you go, upper 40s. Over the end of the week, mid-50s. Not a bad day on Friday. Best day for the weekend, Saturday, up to 58 degrees. Game day Sunday, could be a few showers. And we are in the upper 50s, maybe near 60 on Monday. Well,
WCNC Charlotte.
Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community.
See the difference.
That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
A big day for WCNC Charlotte. We held our big donation day for our magical toy drive earlier. We've teamed up with the Salvation Army to make sure every child has something to open this year. We were able to collect thousands of toys today, making a difference.
It started early here outside of the Belk store at Carolina Place Mall.
Awesome! Oh, this is great!
Bags of toys filling up our tables and the Salvation Army truck.
3, 2, 1!
Open the door!
Oh, watch out!
Our friends at the Charlotte Soccer Academy donating a truck filled with toys.
The biggest message is just we want to make sure that we can provide for those that aren't going to get anything for Christmas.
For more than 2 decades, WCNC Charlotte has teamed up with the Salvation Army to help make Christmas merrier for kids across the Charlotte area. And for families, coming out to Donation Day has become an annual tradition.
We've tried to support this every year, so we think it's a great thing for Christmas.
Especially for the Brookhart family.
We used to drop the toys off at the station.
This is Charlie Brookhart with our Larry Sprinkle after attending a donation day years ago. Now, at 13, he's helping keep the tradition alive.
It's just so fun to go out every year and get all the toys for people that don't have them.
And thanks to everyone who came out, we were able to collect nearly 3,400 toys on Saturday, a single-day record.
Now at 5:30, the number of children taking their own lives in North Carolina trended down last year, but these numbers are still much higher than before the pandemic.
Yeah, it's really bad out there. The Department of Health and Human Services actually says that that's largely due to the mental health issues that are ongoing and the number of guns that are out there. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard shares the story of one teenager who is pushing to make a difference ahead of the holiday season.
For some, choosing to live is an act of courage.
It was a suicide attempt.
It's an experience 15-year-old Claire Olson knows all too well after trying to commit suicide back in June of last year.
I was struggling really bad with mental health issues. Anxiety is the biggest issue for me, and just constant worrying, constant stress, thinking about things in the past and future that I can't control.
Claire says it was one of the gloomiest moments of her life, but it was also that same darkness that brought her to light.
I ended up spending a week in Presbyterian's behavioral health ward at the hospital. And while I was there, it was the hardest week of my life, but it was also what I needed in the moment. It was the best thing for me. After I was able to go home, I just started thinking about my situation and the experience I was in.
Claire says people like her family and therapists helped her better understand the importance of time and the value of life. Gifts she wants her peers to appreciate too.
I was in therapy every week, and my therapist Q, she gave me the best compliment I've ever received. She told me that I was a golden person, I had a gold heart.
Claire says that's when it hit her. She wanted to find a way to encourage her peers to cherish every breath they take. So she started the Gold Project, delivering warm blankets and pillows to mend broken hearts and minds.
I just started thinking about my situation and the experience I was in. And hospitals are very sterile, cold environments. And especially in behavioral health wards, all of your belongings are stripped from you and you're in paper scrubs, you're using very thin blankets. In the hospital, it's a very hard time. And I just want to bring as much comfort to these kids as I can.
She says her goal is to fill the empty void with love because suicide doesn't remove pain. Instead, it transfers it to someone else.
There's just so much to live for. I just want to make the holiday season as much comforting as I can.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Yeah, wow, leaves many questions as well. If you'd like more information about how to contribute to a cause just like this, you can find more details on our website at WCNC.com. It's actually a specific cause. You can go right there. And for anyone who is struggling out there, maybe someone that is struggling, can reach out to the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988.
5:44 this morning. We're asking where's the money as folks are shopping for St. Nick this December. Good morning and happy Tuesday. So Forbes is breaking down 3 tips to avoid scams this holiday season. Now this one is for the cyber shoppers specifically. Of the threats that are topping the list, writers at Forbes warn that you should be looking out for fake websites. They're on the rise this year. So the advice is to only use websites that start with these 5 letters, HTTPS. It's a sign of a secure site. Now, if you're like me and you like to crack open the laptop to fill your cart, well, this is the reminder to watch out for your phones as well. Our phone numbers are listed in places that we could not imagine. So scamsters are going to be contacting shoppers directly. That's through text, email, and calling your phone. And if you're shopping away from home, make sure you keep away from using public Wi-Fi, especially those that don't have a password at all. Now, those are the tips, but we have some additional numbers for some context. Starting here, 2.4 million. That's how many people reported fraud to the Federal Trade Commission just last year. And as for how much scammers are getting away with across the nation, it's more than $8 billion. That's in 2022. And then finally, the number 2. Online scams fall just second on the list for the most common types of fraud, according to federal data. Coming in at number 1 was investment scams.
At 6, Alzheimer's disease is a notoriously degenerative illness. Patients often get worse and worse as time goes on.
But some local Alzheimer's patients and their families say they're seeing some remarkable positive changes thanks to time spent at a facility right here in our own backyard. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us how it's seeking solutions in the fight against time.
That right. These 4 guys are together 4 days a week, the best of friends.
4 of us guys all sat together at that table up there.
For Gene Boswell, it means his wife Pat is driving back and forth from Waxhaw to Charlotte twice a day.
45 minutes here, 45 minutes home, and then I come again in the afternoon.
But she says it's worth it.
Because of the great change that occurred after he started here.
Not that long ago, life was good. Normal.
We were very active in the church. He was an usher in the church for years, and so we were just happily going along in a normal life.
But one afternoon on a drive home from seeing their son in Atlanta, Gene suddenly wasn't comfortable driving.
Then I got to paying more attention and could see there were little changes. So we went to the doctor and he took the test and he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. His kind demeanor changed. He was not the Gene I knew. He was anxious. He just was not the same, and he got to be a little aggressive.
She says it wasn't until she found the Ivy that things got better, and the founder of the Ivy agrees.
He's night and day, really. Grouchy and just sort of grumpy, and I call it uncomfortable with himself. And now he is calm, talkative, and conversational, and just engaging.
Gene himself seems to notice the difference.
I've got a little bit of Alzheimer's, but coming here helps me a lot.
The Ivy was originally meant to give caretakers a break, a place their loved ones could spend the day. But as they focused more on science to help plan the activities, Ivy and her team noticed something. People with Alzheimer's who were previously isolated were changing thanks to the socialization there at the Ivy.
And just being with people similar to him, I think. So he began to open up more.
And the Brain Gym is focused on dual tasking. The science of dual tasking says that when you do physical and cognitive exercise simultaneously, they actually see change in the brain.
You get a lot of exercise here. It just helps with Alzheimer's.
So when we are doing these very focused activities or they're engaged in conversation and that social connection, they're actually building new pathways that can bypass and circumvent where the damage is.
Pat Boswell says she's got a piece of her husband back thanks to the Ivy.
Since coming here, he is not angry anymore. He helps at home again like he always did. It's wonderful. It puts me more at ease.
In Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
One of the goals with our Seeking Solutions brand is to highlight the people and the programs that are making a difference, striving towards positive change and giving voices to those who might not always be heard.
Yeah, so on that note, we want to ask you at home, whose voice are we missing? If you have something our team should know about, you could reach out to us. You can email us at newstips@wcnc.com. You could see your story right here on our newscast.
Wake up to the news that matters most with meteorologist and traffic reporter Chris Mulcahy.
And we're all clear. We're keeping you smarter, safer, and on time.
Start your day the Mulcahy way. See the difference. 4:30 to 7 on WCNC Charlotte.
5:39 now, and we're asking, where's the money? Good morning and happy Thursday. So we've been looking for ways to save you money this holiday season. And this time, we're honing in on utilities. So we've got 3 money-saving tips that we found through Yahoo Finance. We know not to keep the water running, but writers in this article are actually taking it a step further. So you can save more money by not opening your tap all the way up. Maybe deal with that trickle or even like medium level of your faucet water. Now, more on water, this actually has to do with temperature. The National Resources Defense Council, or NRDC, has some numbers to go along with this tip. You can actually turn down the temperature on your water heater. The NRDC says many are cranked up to about 135 or 140 degrees, much too hot for humans. Researchers say taking that temp down even 20 degrees can actually save you about $400 a year. And finally, we've got a strategic way to use your ceiling fans. Now we know it's winter, but here's how it can heat up your home. Writers suggest changing the direction of your fan to clockwise during the cold months. So hot air rises, and a fan rotating clockwise can actually push some of that warmer air back down into your room. And Home Depot has a price tag. They say you can reduce your utility bills 15% or even more with this tip. So in the spirit of helping each other out, saving money this season, we've got a question for you. What is your top money-saving utility tip? Text us at 704-329-3600.
Welcome back. The city of Charlotte is growing at a rapid pace. With that growth, though, local farmers, they are worried their farms could be put at risk.
Farming advocates say the city is on track to lose more than 19,000 acres of farmland by 2040. And now there's a push to conserve that land. WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood is giving us a closer look at that effort tonight.
Well, farmers say preserving their land is one of their biggest concerns as the city continues to grow. But one group says they're doing what they can to ensure that farmland stays that way forever. Wisdom Jazar and his family have spent the last 5 to 6 years farming in Charlotte as part of their business, Steep Roots CPS Farm. As the city grows, he worries if local farms like his will have a place.
That's the million-dollar question right there is, how is the city working to make sure that there's a productive and a local food system?
Well, the city says